Hey, happy Tuesday. It's me, Michael Kosta. This is the Tennis Anyone podcast. Thank you for listening on where you listen to podcasts. Thank you for watching on YouTube. We are growing our YouTube subscriber base. Thank you. More stand-up to come, more podcasting to come. Appreciate all new listeners. You will not hear anybody who works in tennis talk about politics, life, and the environment. It blows me away that the tennis community just pretends like the outside world isn't happening. Although I guess sports is that escape. I'm sure people at the Tennis Channel are like, don't bring up Iran. Hey, don't bring it up. But there's a guy on the court who's from Iran. Shouldn't we bring up that yesterday his government shut off the internet and then killed thousands of protesters? No. Talk about his backhand grip. No. This is sports. I hate that. Sports is so soft. For sports being like tough guy, smash and hit and be strong and persevere. It's so fucking soft about geopolitical issues. When I worked at Fox Sports 1, I remember we had A-Rod on. No. We didn't even have A-Rod on. They asked us, like, when our single shot hits us, is there anything in the background that you really wanted? And I go, I want a salary clock that says A-Rod's salary, because he makes like $200,000 an at bat or something. And they all laughed. And then they were like, no, seriously, what do you want? Like a tennis racket? And I was like, no, I want a fucking A-Rod salary clock. I want everyone who's watching to know how much this guy makes. Is that negative? Is that positive? It's just his salary clock. They can determine. Some people would say, yeah, he deserves it. Some people go, that's too much. We're putting too much money towards sports when the poverty line in America is too low and most kids don't even have healthy lunch. They freaked out. They would not do it. But what if A-Rod comes on as a guest? Well, so what? How'd I get on this topic? I'm mad about something that happened 12 years ago. My point is, this is the podcast where we're going to talk about Iran, Venezuela, Minneapolis, and tennis results. Some of you seem to love it. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your feedback on my YouTube and on the Apple Podcasts reviews. And most of you love it because you're here. So thank you for listening. What did Jon Stewart yesterday on The Daily Show said? January 6th, they're heroes. They're peaceful protesters. They all get pardons. But January 7th, the next day, she was a terrorist. She tried to hit an ICE agent with her car. I thought that was very interesting. It is so wild to me if you're in the American military right now. They're like, go to Minneapolis. Go to all the Democratic states. Oh, hey, we need you in Venezuela. Oh, also, we need you in Iran. I mean, literally, if you're President Donald Trump or this administration, they see the Democratic governored states as Venezuela, as Iran. Shit's crazy, yo. And there's so much tennis happening. We had the United Cup, which was won by Poland. Is that right? I think it was. I think they beat Switzerland. We had, which took place in all these cities. We also had Brisbane and Hong Kong. We currently have Adelaide and Auckland. On the women's side, Australian Open qualifying has started, which, by the way, Bernard Tomic is in, and he won. Is there anybody more unlikable than Bernard Tomic? Bernard Tomic, but Nick Kyrgios and Bernard Tomic were like the same guy, but then Nick kept having results, so you had to kind of adjust how you thought. But I mean, Bernard Tomic is that Johnny Wickham, the guy that you wanted to fail, and it's enjoyable to watch him fail. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, I don't even have my pencil with me. Let me get a pen. We just watched this crazy documentary on Paramount Plus, my boss, called Predators. And it is a very difficult subject, and the filmmaker did an excellent job. It's not perfect, but it's a in-depth look, a critical look at To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen, the show that would famously bait child sexual predators to a home with a decoy, both male and female, lure them into what they believed was going to be a sex act. Some of them would bring condoms. Some of them would bring Smirnoff Ice, alcohol, vodka. One guy showed up naked, for real. And then this is on Dateline NBC. And then they would film the whole thing. And it was very entertaining. It was a great gotcha moment. It was great TV. And I remember even watching as a kid going, this is entrapment. And this is really, really awful that they're doing this to these people. Even though these people are about to try to or believe they're going to have sex with a 12-year-old. And it's this perfect Black Mirror moment of, yes, this is an awful act. Yes, this is a heinous act. Yes, we love watching these people get caught and fail and their lives be ruined. But also, they're people. And what this movie does a great job of, Predators on Paramount Plus, it's really good. Don't watch it right before bed. Like I said yesterday, hey, let's watch Predators and then let's leave an hour before bed that I can read something. Because I don't want to go to sleep thinking about this, which I'm currently reading this, The Great River by Boyce Upholt, who's a New Orleanians researcher, journalist. And this came out in 2024. The Great Making and Unmaking of the Mississippi River. I saw him, Boyce, if you're listening, I saw you on C-SPAN. I was stuck in a hotel room and you had a 1-hour interview, which as an author myself, I was thinking that's a long time to interview someone without just giving away the whole book. But I enjoyed that interview so much that I bought the book, and I'm a huge fan of anybody who devotes large quantities of time and research into our bodies of water. I believe that we aren't doing enough to protect our drinking water or thinking about it at all because AI is going to get it. Other countries that need water are going to come for the Great Lakes. We need our water. I'm all over the place. It's one of those days. I forget what I was talking about. Before reading, Predators. Yeah, really interesting look. They didn't get into why To Catch a Predator got canceled. I would assume for legal reasons. I mean, at one point, one of the guys who they entrapped was a district attorney, and they went to his house, and he killed himself. I don't know. I've told you guys many times this in the Daily Show. There's always a lawyer who's saying, like, you can't make that joke. You can't say Hugh Jackman's gay. But we're not. We're saying he's not gay. Well, you can't say he's not gay. So I don't know where the Dateline NBC lawyers were like, hey, you're entrapping a human and showing their face on TV. And because it's news, they wouldn't have to blur the face. And also, for all these men, and I don't think there was a single woman, this goes for everybody. I don't know why I'm defending them right now, but I'm not defending their act, but I really dislike how it became entertainment to watch these people's lives get ruined, even though they wanted to fuck kids. So it's tricky, I understand. But what this show didn't do, To Catch a Predator, is it didn't show the humanity of these people and that some of them were sick and wanted help. I mean, there was, and this is what the film does a great job of. It shows footage they didn't use where the predators, who had just gotten caught, so it's hard to know really what they're saying, if it's accurate, are asking for help, are asking for therapy. And you got to think also that these men were sexually abused themselves. Do you think there's any tennis podcast that's talking about child sexual abuse right now? Kosta. Guys, childhood trauma is like a blazing fire and it just gets passed down to the next generation, it morphs a little bit into something different. Alcoholism, gambling addiction, anger outbursts, whatever. And then it gets passed down to the next generation. Unless that fire is put out, managed, dealt with, therapy, understanding, I don't know. It doesn't have to be therapy. It can be other things, other ways to face our anxieties and our trauma. And it's just that, I think I've grown so much since I first watched To Catch a Predator. Now I see those men, and here's the crazy thing. They are going to go create their own trauma for that child. But they do need help. And the movie falls short in a lot of ways. I have no idea how many of those men that To Catch a Predator actually went to prison. I think a lot of it didn't even hold up in court. I think it did a great job of saying, yo, Chris Hansen, you were basically clickbait before. And he goes, oh, no, I was working with law enforcement. Oh, yeah, law enforcement wearing body cams so they could tackle a guy, not a kid. Anyways, great documentary, very thought-provoking. Good job to the documentarian who himself is a victim of sexual abuse and did a wonderful thing and made a movie attempting to deal with, manage, face his fears, all of our fears, and be critical of the way we watch and voyeur criminals, people who do lewd acts. So it's a very, very, very good film. Predators on Paramount Plus. Good job to the filmmakers. Wasn't on my list. Well, we know it was on my list. Bernard Tomic. In fact, the way I wrote it was Predator Bernard Tomic. I do not believe Bernard Tomic is a predator. I do believe he was easy to root against, and he's in the Australian Open qualifying right now, and he won his first round. Quickly, Brisbane was won by Daniil Medvedev. That's an ATP 250. He beat Nakashima, the personality of the tour, in the final. The semifinal was Medvedev versus Mickelson, the American. I always say his name wrong. He played college stuff.
Alex Mickelson.
Sorry, Alex.
Alex Mickelson.
37 in the world. Good job, man. That's fucking great. So the Americans did well. I mean, the other one was the Illini fighting Illini. I'm going to let him say it.
Alexander Kovacevic. Alexander Kovacevic.
What a backhand that fucking guy has, huh? It is beautiful to watch. Lost to Nakashima in the... Oh, let's just hear the way Nakashima says his name, because this guy crushes the ball, and I interviewed him on Tennis Channel a few times, saw him the next day at breakfast, and let's just put it this way. Brendan Nakashima is not going to host a late-night comedy program anytime soon.
Brandon Nakashima.
Crushed that, though. So, yeah, Medvedev, number 1 seed, beat Nakashima. Who is the 2 seed at this tournament? The 2 seed was Davidovich Fokina, who's currently ranked, is he really? 15. Wow. So that's Brisbane. Hong Kong, Bublik, the 2 seed, beat Musetti. The 1 seed semifinals was Giron, the American. He needed a result. And Musetti beat Rublev. Let's see any other surprises here. Lucky loser, Wong from Coleman Wong. Another college player, no?
Coleman Wong. Coleman Wong.
Okay. I kind of hate when I do this because it just shows that I don't know how to pronounce these guys' names. And I always get yelled at on YouTube, and it's like, yeah, you're right. I don't have a fucking producer. Jamie, how do you say it? Great. So the winners were Bublik, who beat Musetti. Bublik's so good for tennis, so fun to watch. Beat him 6-3, and Daniil Medvedev. This week, right now, we have Adelaide. The number 1 seed is Davidovich Fokina versus, this number 2 seed Tommy Paul. This is happening as we discuss right now. Auckland, Number 1 seed, Ben Shelton. Number 2 seed, Casper Ruud. We're not seeing anybody in the top 10, really. I mean, I think we saw some of them. That's not true. Ben Shelton is what? 8? 11? 8. They're resting. Australian Open qualifying is going on. Women, Brisbane was won by Sabalenka. The ASB Classic, Auckland. It just gets confusing because it's like men are in Auckland, women are in Auckland. United Cup is playing in Perth. No, Perth is in Sydney. The semifinals are in Melbourne. No, they're not. The Australian Open's in Melbourne. America is taking over Venezuela. Donald Trump put on his Wikipedia that he's the acting president of Venezuela. What are we doing? How do we stop it? I don't want to live in Germany when Germany starts taking over the world. Certainly, this has made me more empathetic to the citizens of authoritarian rulers who didn't want to be part of it. God. The only thing I know how to do is speak out and register to vote and vote. But if you don't think that this guy isn't figuring out ways to fuck up the elections also, while we're on this topic, I think it's important that the artists step up and the content creators step up and use their voice and make art that is critical of or, is powerful. So I'm going to share with you 2 things. One of them was on my list to share with you. One of them wasn't. I love Conan O'Brien. I think he understands comedy. I think he's great. Always been a big fan. Had a chance to meet him a few times in LA when I played his golf charity event. Did his show. Also, forgot I did a show. I did a Facebook update theater on his show where we brought out a candelabra, we dimmed the lights, and I read people's Facebook updates very seriously. It was very fun. It sounds a little antiquated now, but at the time, it was cutting edge. So let's listen to Conan talk about, he in a way, he's being very critical of comics who just say, fuck Trump. That's not good enough as art. But what I love the way this piece ends is he talks about the power of great art. Finding a deeper meaning or a harder joke is actually is difficult, but can be more powerful than just saying fuck Trump and then the audience claps.
Maybe know less about comedy or haven't given it a lot of thought, say, oh my God, Trump is president. This must be so great for comedy. And I think
get this question all the time.
It's not. With Trump, we have a situation in comedy, which is people saying, we've got a great Trump sketch for you. In this one, he's kind of talking crazy. And he's saying stuff, and he tears down half the White House to build a giant ballroom. And he says it's going to be the new Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, no, that happened yesterday. Comedy needs a straight line to go off of. And we don't have a straight line right now. We have a very bendy, rubbery line. We have a slinky. We have a fire hose that's whipping around. And so comedically, it's been very, very challenging. And I think some comics go the route of, I'm going to just say F Trump all the time, or that's their comedy. And I think, well, now a little bit you're being co-opted because you're so angry.
Yeah.
You've been lulled. It's like a siren leading you into the rocks. You've been lulled into just saying F Trump, F Trump, F Trump, screw this guy, and I think you've now put down your best weapon, which is being funny, and you've exchanged it for anger. And that person or any person like that would say, well, things are too serious now. I don't need to be funny. And I think, well, if you're a comedian, you always need to be funny. You just have to find a way. And you just have to find a way to channel that anger into a way that is, because good art will always be a great weapon, will always be a perfect weapon against power. But if you're just screaming and you're just angry, you've lost your best tool in the toolbox. People that...
Don't you love that? Good art is always the perfect weapon against power. Good reminder. it's something we try to talk about at The Daily Show. I know I certainly try to make it a priority. Like, hey, we can't just be right. In fact, being right is not the goal. We have to be funny, and let's try to be right. But the problem is you get mad, right? Is that you get emotionally locked in and you feel like, oh my God, is anybody seeing this? We got to yell, fuck Trump. Or we got to yell, fuck this administration or whatever. But really, if we are content creators, if we're artists, if we care, try to, I'm as much talking to me as you, try to make good art that is funny if you're in the comedic space and will, hopefully inform as well. I mean, I posted something, my phone is up there. I posted something last week about the ICE shootings. I wanted people to realize that this was the 16th shooting. This was not the first shooting. 16 different times in Trump's second term, ICE agents have fired their weapon at people. 16 times. I think it was very easy to be upset because this woman was killed, obviously, but people maybe weren't as aware that this has been happening. And as I was making the post, I'm going, this isn't funny. This isn't funny at all. I'm just saying it, but I really felt like I wanted to say it. This is where the social media line gets blurred. Is my job always to be funny on social media? I feel like it is on stage. And I've certainly fallen a victim to making a joke that maybe isn't F Trump, but is making fun of Trump, and I could do better. Shit, man. Shit, we've all done that. But it's very hard right now to be funny when such serious shit is happening. But I really appreciated Conan saying this because I think he's right. Good art. He didn't say perfect art. He didn't say great art. He said good art is the perfect weapon against power. I love that. Thank you, Conan. On another note, Stephen Colbert had Jesse Wells on, who sings a song called Join ICE. And it doesn't have a lot of plays on Spotify, which pisses me off and makes me think the tech powers that be are not promoting it as much, or maybe people don't know about it. He was on Stephen Colbert's show, and I credit that show, and I credit their booking department for finding this because it's awesome. And I notice when I'm critical, look, it's hard to, everyone loves to say they're shadow banned, but I have definitely noticed since America took over TikTok, Trump, I've noticed a lot of trends change. And initially, when China ran TikTok, if you were critical of the American government, I feel like you would get boosted. Now I feel like when I'm critical of the American government, it gets squashed. I don't really have any data other than my views, but I have certainly felt, and it's hard to not get paranoid about that when you see all the tech bros in the White House giving him gifts. And when you read about authoritarian rulers, the first thing they want to do, besides leashing their own federal military on the citizens, is control the media. And we are the media now. All right, this is called Join ICE. He crushes it. It's a 2-minute and 50-second song. I might play all of it. I might not. Listen to the words. You'll enjoy it. It's catchy.
Well, if you're looking for purpose in the current circus, if you're seeking respect and attention, if you're in need of a gig that'll make you feel big, come with me and put some folks in detention. Just last week was kinda tough. I put a kid in cuffs. I zip-tied a lady to a van. We can sneak around town hunting working folks down. I hear they got a great benefit plan. Join ICE, boy ain't it nice. Join ICE, take my advice. If you're lacking control and authority, come with me and hunt down minorities. Join ICE.
Damn. $50,000 to sign up.
Well, I failed the...
You know that? $50,000, you get a bonus. I mean, it is so true. If you're lacking control or power in your life, these people always want those positions, right?
Academy, the cops weren't having me, the army didn't sound that fun, so I found me a paramilitary operation that was keen to hand me a gun. I got picked on in school, I never felt that cool. There's a hole in my soul that just rages. All the ladies turned me down and I felt like a clown. But will you look at me now, I'm putting folks in cages. At ICE for respect and power. Join ICE, I hear they got great hours. There's a sign-on bonus of 50 grand. They're in need of you needing to feel like a man. Join ICE.
We're paying that. That's our tax dollars.
Look at them go.
God damn it. What the fuck have we done to America, huh? Shit. It's also crazy that these were the same people that during COVID didn't want to wear masks. And now they're wearing masks every day to do their job. One of the protest signs in Minneapolis I saw said, "We have whistles, you have guns."
Well, if you're looking for purpose in the current circus, if you're seeking respect and attention, if you're in need of a gig that'll make you feel big, come with me and put some folks in detention. See, I failed the academy, the cops weren't having me, the army didn't sound that fun, so I found me a paramilitary operation that was keen to hand me a gun. Join ICE, boy, ain't it nice? Join ICE, take my advice. If you're lacking control and authority, come with me and hunt down minorities. Join ICE.
Share that, you know. I think more power to the artists, more power to the people. I think everything he says is true. Good job, Jesse Wells, making provocative content that makes a statement that is catchy and good. And yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with anything he said there. Immigration is such a complicated subject. I've visited the southern border in Eagle Pass, Texas. It's not as straightforward as we all want it to be. I think that everyone who lives in a northern state should go down to the southern border. You see kids' shoes, you see lunch boxes, you see people trying to hop the fence and cross the Rio Grande. You hear horror stories of people crossing and squatting in people's homes, and it's fucked up. It's so crazy that we live in the United States of America, and so many of us are sheltered from how Central Americans are trying to come here. So don't think that I think this is a simple, easy answer where you open the borders and let everybody in. It's complicated. It's hard. But the way it's being executed right now is the federal government is releasing federal troops, and they shot and killed American citizens. They're also detaining American citizens. They're also deporting American citizens or people who have the legal right to be in this country to another country, El Salvador, and then they say, we don't have jurisdiction, it's in another country. So it's fucked up. It's not okay. And, don't think that Donald Trump and his people aren't watching Iran right now and thinking, oh, the federal government shut off the internet. Well, that's sure is a good idea. Hey, Elon, you know how the internet works. Hey. So, look, I'm a little bit sick and tired of people saying, well, politics aren't my thing. Oh, I don't really pay attention. I don't really pay attention. You kind of have to now. At some point, that's cute. At some point, hey, I got kids. It's kind of tough to pay attention. I don't know, soccer practice. So you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. And the swiftness that this administration moved to redefine and change the narrative of that ICE agent shooting a woman in the face 3 times who did not pose a threat, who the last thing she said in her life was to the ICE agents, and she said, I'm not even mad at you. Sucks. And I'm sad. It makes me sad to live in a country where that happened. It makes me sad that our president thinks he's the president of Venezuela. It makes me sad that I probably got 50 direct messages asking me to cover Iran because the people in Iran feel like they're not getting coverage. They're saying, and just little bits of information are trickling out right now, that thousands of protesters were killed. And it's so hard to fact check this stuff because their internet's down. And why is their internet down? Because the government fucking shut it down. It's crazy. It's wild. And I wish I knew more historically about the best actions to take. I wish I knew more about authoritarian regimes and what has happened historically, because I don't. And maybe we all should have paid more attention in history class. But you can always learn. All right. I finally finished Ghost Rider. It's a great book. I made a couple notes. This is the drummer from Rush who sadly passed away a few years ago of a brain cancer. I've talked about this book a lot on this podcast, so I won't continue. I just made a couple notes. He tragically lost his daughter and his wife, and he basically just went on the road on a motorcycle and wrote a lot of stuff down. The grieving road, the healing road. I said this is a great book of adventure, of grieving, and of motorcycles. I fucking love motorcycles, and this was very cool that this guy did this. One of the things I love that he did is he wrote, when he would sit down to eat because he was by himself, he would write letters. He'd write letters to his friends, in particular one of his friends who was in prison at the time, which is another crazy part of this book. I love that he visited museums. Everywhere he went, he visited a museum. He had a general curiosity about the region and the area, and he would often say like, oh, shoot, the local museum was closed today, or he visited tons of bookstores. He would constantly be reading and visiting bookstores and local bookstores. I love that. He also used maps. God damn, do I love maps. Aren't maps fucking awesome? And, you know, what's tricky when you travel is you need to kind of keep updating your map. And Google Maps, find what place to start, but you really want to unfold a map. And you really want to look at topography and geography and everything. You want to see the roads that aren't really showcased. So I enjoyed this book very much. It's a little self-indulgent, of course. He's going through a lot. And I thank him for revealing so much in that vulnerability, because anytime you go through anything, you're not necessarily yourself, even though you are yourself. You're finding a new balance and you're finding a new person, as he talks about a lot. He couldn't even think about playing the drums. Here's one of the best drummers ever, and he's on the road going, I don't even want to ever play the drums again. I don't even know who that person is anymore. So much has happened to me. I think we can all relate to that a little bit. What else? I turned off my Gmail AI. I hate them telling me how to write. You can go to the settings, you can go to smart features, and you can turn that off. Turning off the AI search, I guess, is more complicated. I don't know why I haven't been going to DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo seems to be, I should just make it my free browser. I should do that. I'm really, really, really sick of AI. I don't think anybody wants it. I think it uses too much energy. I think it's going to swallow up the Great Lakes, and I don't support it. Boom. I will be in Shirley, Massachusetts at Bull Run Restaurant and Blues Venue, which is going to be fucking awesome. This Friday. Saturday, I will be at East Greenwich, Rhode Island, at a place called Odium. Is that right? I need to check my own website. Here's the cool thing. I'm going to the International Tennis Hall of Fame, and I'm going to East Greenwich Odium. Yeah, both are almost sold out. Get your tickets. Friday, Shirley, Massachusetts. January 17th, Saturday, East Greenwich, Rhode Island. I'm going to check out International Tennis Hall of Fame. I'll report back to you on that. Please, if you come to a show, I will be selling books. I'll be signing your books. Tell me you listen to the podcast. Always makes me feel good. Tennis Hall of Fame, AI, results. That's kind of it. Thank you for listening to the Tennis Anyone podcast. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Thank you for liking and subscribing. And I don't know. I don't have any final thoughts other than it's wild. And we got ourselves into this mess. And like Lonnie Thompson, the climate paleontologist, is that who he is? Is that what he is? You know, he chose to be optimistic that humans can solve climate change because humans did get us to this point. And he talked about drilling ice cores with people from 11 different nations working together to do this thing. And it feels a bit naive and a bit optimistic, but I choose at its core, if you were to put that in a juicer and distill it and get the juice from that, I believe that's true. We can solve difficult things and fight back against difficult things. And if anything, it's an opportunity to have our country get pressure tested, which it is. And how can we do better and how can we make better? And I know the people that support Donald Trump have a lot of anger, and there's a half of me that wants to reach out and say, I hear you. I hear you've got anger, and I understand your anger, and it sucks to be angry. And how can we help you? And how can we solve and squash this anger? But then there's also a part of me that's like, fucking grow up, get over it. Countries adjust and change. And you're being mean. You're being mean. And there is times for empathy. There is times to open your heart. And there's also times for, you guys are fucking wrong. And we need to do better and be quiet. And I guess life is that balance. And you always want to approach with kindness and grace, but at some point, it crosses over, right? Hey, I'm Michael Kosta. This is the Tennis Anyone podcast. Game, set, match. Let me drop some tennis knowledge on you. One of the things I love to do in warm up when I'm playing a new opponent, someone I don't know, is one of the first balls I feed in. I would feed directly at their belly button, so the ball bounces and it goes directly to their belly button, and I would immediately notice, because they could either play a forehand or they could play a backhand. And I would immediately notice what shot they played, because they have both options. And if they run around their forehand to hit a backhand, that shows me that their backhand is their preferred shot. If they run around their backhand and hit a forehand, that shows me the forehand is the preferred shot. And I would just kind of store that. It's good to know what your opponent wants to hit. For me, definitely, I would want to hit a backhand. And for my opponent to know that would be of service to them, especially on a tight point. You might pull that back and say, all right, I'm going to approach to their shittier side, the side that they want to hit least. Doesn't mean it's always going to work, but it is a little trick. So try that your next match. Feed the ball directly at your opponent's body, and then pay attention to what they do with that. And also why that's good is it gets you out of your own head for a sec. Pay attention to them. What are they doing right now? Oh, wow, they really don't want to hit a forehand. That's important to know. I'm not going to abuse that at the beginning of the match, but I'm going to think about that and try to abuse that at the later in the match. That's some free knowledge. Hey, boys and girls, I'm Michael Kosta. Game, set, match. Kosta. See you this weekend on the road. Oh, Denver, Colorado, next weekend. Shooting a special. Peace, motherfuckers.